so you've launched the first version of your directory. You've also started adding a whole bunch of listings, but what do you do now? In today's video, I'm going to show you how to set up a high quality outreach system that will allow you to take your listings and turn them into business relationships. I'm going to be walking you through the step-by-step process of creating a high quality outreach email. Each email will include a custom preview thumbnail, a link to the listing page that you created for them, and then finally also a short personalized walkthrough video made in Tella. This email will be sure to stand out in a crowded inbox and hopefully set the foundation for you to turn your directory into an awesome business. Let's get into it. Hey friends, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So over the last few weeks, I've obviously made tons of videos breaking down how to build an actual directory. And since then, a whole bunch of people have emailed me with their directories. It's awesome to see. Now, a question that I get from a lot of people that get to the point where they build the first version of their directory is, well, what do I do now? And the answer is now it's actually time to start building the business of your directory. And there are obviously a lot of things that you can do, but a great first starting point is to start building relationships with the businesses or vendors that you've listed in your directory. Now, oftentimes you'll start off from scratch, meaning that you don't have any contacts, you don't really know anyone, and also, if we're being real, your directory is also so new that barely anyone will know about it. So if that is the case, the best starting point is to simply use cold outreach emails. Now, unfortunately, when people hear cold emails, people get nervous about it. And that's because cold outreach usually has a pretty bad rep, because a majority of the cold outreach that we see as consumers is usually not that good, which is why we're actually going to have to develop a system that will allow us to actually create an email that actually stands out, that is actually personalized, and that makes the person receiving the email think that it was created solely for them. And so what we're going to be doing in today's video is I'm going to show you, first of all, what in my opinion makes a great cold outreach email. Then I'm going to show you a hack that will immediately increase the amount of replies you get, and that is by using video to basically put a voice and a face to the actual email. Then I'm also going to show you behind the scenes of how you can keep track of all of the emails that you're sending out so that you know when and who to follow up with. And then finally, and this is going to be the fun part, I'm also going to show you how you can actually automate 80% of all of this. So before we get into the meat of all of it, I want to make a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Tella. Tella is a screen recording tool that I've been using for years. I absolutely love it. It allows you to film really high quality demos, tutorial, courses. In fact, this YouTube here is filmed in Tella. And one of the things that makes Tella really stand out is that unlike other screen recording tools, you can actually make your videos look super professional by filming in individual clips and then also really using transitions and high quality layouts to just make your video very, very interesting. Now, one of the use cases that I've been using Tella for is to actually reach out to businesses about projects or directories that I'm working on. And so later on in this video, I'm actually going to show you how you can use Tella to create an awesome outreach email that is bound to get you a ton of extra replies. Now, with all of that out of the way, we've got quite a bit to cover. So let's dive into the first part of all of this, which is to really go over what makes a good cold outreach email. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is just how we write high quality outreach emails. Now, cold emails just sometimes gets a little bit of a bad rep. People don't like doing it. And the reason for it is because a majority of the cold emails and cold messages that you receive on various platforms is just usually not that good. You can kind of spot from a mile away that it's a really low effort copy and paste job. And the fact of the matter is that I always assume that if someone doesn't want to put effort in reaching out to me, they're probably not going to put in a lot of effort in then actually wanting to do the work for me. So ultimately, the first impression that you are going to have with a potential customer is not going to be your directory or even the work that you're doing. It is the actual email that you send someone. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that in this email, we're focusing on 1, building trust, 2, personalizing it and actually showing that we've put effort into reaching out to them, and 3, making the ask simple enough that they can then start having a conversation with us. Now, with all of that in mind, everyone's going to have their own way of wanting to write these emails, but here's some approach that has really worked for me. So the first thing is I like to keep things nice and short and to the point. This is not the place to waffle. You really want to just let them know who you are, where you're from, what you're doing. Now, a tip is if you are working on a local directory, it's actually really helpful to say where you're from, because that will basically create a connection to them. It will become more relevant and they'll know that you're either in the same city or at the very least in the same country as them. Now, as soon as I've let them know what it is that I do, I immediately want to let them know why I am reaching out to them. And really what we want to do here is immediately say, hey, this is who I am, what I do, and this is why I'm getting in touch with you. And so in this particular example, what I'm saying is, hey, I've created a listing page for you and I want to make your listing page better by adding images. Is it okay for me to use images from your website or social media account? Now, from here, immediately, I've also given them a preview to the actual landing page or listing page that I created for them. So they'll immediately be able to come here. And now what this does is it actually shows people that you've actually taken the time to actually create something useful for them. This is not just some lazy copy and paste job. You've actually created a landing page for them. You're essentially promoting their business. And so right here, you've already shown them that, hey, this is not a low effort way of someone reaching out. This is something that someone has done to really, connect with me. Not just that, because sometimes links are not clicked or don't stand out, I also add a preview image. And so this preview image will immediately show basically what the actual page looks like, as well as the name of their business. Now that in itself creates curiosity, which is likely to get you a click. And as soon as they see the full landing page, then again, you've established a certain level of trust. Now, the next part in this email, and this is something that is optional, but let me tell you, this here works an absolute dream, is to also include a video. So I just say, hey, I also recorded a video, and when they click on it, it redirects them to a page where I then have a quick little video where I basically walk them through how it all works. So let's have a quick little look at the first few seconds of it. Hey there, what's going on? My name's Connor. I just want to make this quick little video to, introduce myself, tell you a little bit about the running directory so you can kind of get an idea of what all of this is about. Now, I'll keep it short. Basically, I'm from Ottawa. I moved here from New Zealand about 3 years ago, and over the last 3 years, and yeah, so you get the idea. It's basically a quick little intro overview of what it is that I'm doing. Now, I'll dive into kind of the strategy behind this email later on and how you can recreate it for yourself. But if we take an email like this and we compare it to some of the, lazier attempts of sending out cold reach emails like, hey, I added your business to my site, let me know if you want to upgrade to a premium listing, then you can kind of see why certain emails or outreach methods just don't work and others do. Now, I'm not saying that this particular method that I use is 100% going to work for you. It really depends on your niche, but just going out of your way to just put a little bit of extra effort in and actually trying to get in touch with the actual people that you've listed on your site will make a massive difference. Now, as soon as you've experimented around with a few little templates that you can use to reach out to people, then what we want to do is see how we can really take this email to the next level. And really the easiest way of doing that is with video. This is something that has just, people have told me that this is why they ended up working with me. And it is such a simple yet effective thing to do. So even if you're someone that doesn't really enjoy being on camera or doesn't really like recording things, this is something that you only need to do once, and then it will just make such a massive difference to what it is that you're doing. Now, because I know a lot of people might be new to filming things, I actually just wanted to share a quick little tip in terms of how I would approach doing it. All you really need to do is create 3 clips. The first thing is to create an introduction clip, which can be honestly like 10 seconds being like, hey, my name's Connor, this is what I do, blah, blah, blah. The second part is the walkthrough clip, and this is where you kind of show them your platform, and more specifically, you can show them their listing. And then finally, the last clip is just a simple call to action where you basically ask them to do a certain thing. Now, the reason why this is so effective is because once someone watches this video, now your email that you have sent them has now turned into something beyond that. Now they can actually put a voice and a name and a face to the actual email that they received. And it just creates a bit more of a connection between you and them. I have found that when I send out these types of emails with a video, people have a tendency to want to jump on calls with me a lot more. People seem to trust what I'm doing a lot more. And ultimately, this here is an absolute game-changing hack that will really skyrocket your replies. Now, I want to show you why Tella is such an awesome tool for this. Now, the first thing that I want to say is that it's very hard for me to record myself recording Tella, if that makes sense, because I'm essentially using Tella right now to record this clip. But basically the way it works is you can install the Mac app, it goes on your computer, and then it just works like any other screen sharing tool. But as soon as you are done, what happens is it will redirect you to a page like this. And if you've filmed it in individual clips, you'll see that it would have created all of these individual clips for you. Now, here's what's cool about this. In here, what you can do to make this video more interesting is you can play around with layouts. Now, you've probably noticed in this video how there have been certain transitions from, say, like the talking head to like a screen recording, all those types of things. I do all of this in Tella. So let's have a quick little look as to how it would work. So let's say I want to start off with, say, a small little headshot like that. So we're going to go play. Hey there, what's going on? My name's Connor. I just want to make this quick little video to... Okay, now what I want to do is I want to change the layout to zoom in a little bit more, just like that. Introduce myself, tell you a little bit about the running directory so you can kind of get an idea of what all of this is about. Okay, then let's just go a little bit further. Let's say now I want to transition into a screen recording. So what I can do now is just switch it over like this. Running, I've been part of a few run clubs and also done a few races in, Ottawa. And now we can go ahead and even keep changing it up. So I like doing this all the time just because it keeps the actual flow of the video somewhat interesting. And then when we go and look at what this looks like in preview mode, then you'll see how it is really smooth when the transitions happen. Hey there, what's going on? My name's Connor. I just want to make this quick little video to, introduce myself, tell you a little bit about the running directory so you can kind of get an idea of what all of this is about. And so on. You get the idea. Now, the way I like to approach it is I go through each of the clips. I also, sometimes you'll have a little bit left over where you, for example, finish the recording and you need to cut out a bit. Like that. We don't want that. So what I do is I just go ahead, trim it. And then you can also do little things like changing the background if you want, like that. Whatever it is that you want to do. Then I usually jump into the second clip, do the same thing here. The first thing that I do is just trim off the parts that I don't need. And then I just, again, add a set of layouts in there that are kind of relevant to what I'm doing. And then I do the final thing as well with my clips. Now, as you probably noticed, there are also subtitles that are created, so you can kind of edit them in there. I'm not going to use subtitles here, just don't feel like I need them, but you can add them as well. And then there are also a whole bunch of additional features that you can add, like, little zoom ins and all those kind of things. Now, I recommend just having a play around with it because it is really awesome. Now, this video that I've created here is more of the generic version of this message. But what I can do is if I were to, say, send a video like this to, say, a specific race, and instead of making the middle part of the video generic, I wanted to make this a little bit more personal, then what I could do is I could actually just jump in here. I could then go ahead, duplicate this video. It will simply create a copy for me. And now instead of having to refilm the entire video, what I can do is I can just go ahead and re-record the middle clip, and then you've just like that created a highly personalized video for that specific customer that you're reaching out to. So in short, if you really want to scale up your outreach, and not just scaling up the volume of your outreach, but also the quality of your outreach, using a tool like this is a complete no-brainer. Now, just so you understand how you can actually share this with people. So when you click on the play button, there'll be the share button up here, and that will then generate a link for you. So what I typically do is I take this link and I store it in my database, and I'll show you that in a second. But if you wanted, you could also just send it by email immediately. You could just go and add the email address, the message, copy the content, and then it will automatically generate a little GIF for you. You can also use a static image. And so in emails, it looks really awesome as well. Now, there's so much more to it. Honestly, I'm going to leave a link to Tella down below. Have a play around with it. It's such an awesome tool to learn. And once you've got that up and running, share some of your videos with me. Show me what it is that you create. Maybe even show me your directory, and I can potentially include it in a future video. With that being said, now that we've got our idea of how we can create these high quality emails, now what we need to do is build a system that allows us to do this at scale. Now, again, everyone's going to have a different system for this, but the way that I want it to work is as soon as I create a new listing in my directory, what I want to do is create a draft email in my inbox that is personalized to the actual listing. So if we go back to the email that I set up, let's have a look at some of the components that need to be included in the email. So the first thing is we're going to have to, customize parts of the content. We're going to have to add our custom link to the actual landing page that we've created for them. Then we're also going to have a custom thumbnail that is created. And I add this little image down below so that it looks like a screen recording and it's kind of clear that it's a video. And then we also need to add the link to the video that we create for them. And so depending on whether it is, the generic one or a custom one, it has to be different from person to person. Now, in order for us to do this, we're going to need to start off by creating a database, and I'm going to build on top of the existing database that I've created for the running directory that allows us to create these draft emails. Now, here's what my database looks like, and you can see all of these active listings that I've created. Now, the next part in all of this is going to be for me to create my thumbnail. So it's just a custom thumbnail like this that has my image and then also an image of the landing page. And so what I've done is in the background, I've set up a workflow that allows me to generate a video screenshot. So what I do is I use a make.com workflow that goes and takes a screenshot of this particular page and it looks at the URL. Then what it does is it uses a tool called Placid to add my little image in the bottom right corner. And once this workflow is done, it stores the image that was created in here, just like that. And now we've got a custom image that I can now add to the email. Now, the second part of all of this is to then, and this happens automatically, generate my draft emails. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over to my emails tab, and in here you can see how it automatically created an email with a custom headline or subject line, also a custom body with the actual email. So I'm just going to go make it extra tall. And then also it pulls in the video that I created. So this here is the generic video, and also it pulls in the screenshot that I just generated in the previous workflow. Now, if I wanted to create a custom video for them, what I would do is I'll just jump back into Tella, make a copy of the video, re-record that one clip, and then instead of saving the generic email in this tab, I'll just put the custom URL into this tab here so that it then adds that link to my email. Now, assuming that I'm happy with all of this, all that's left to do then is to click on create a draft. And what this will do is kickstart another workflow that will now create my draft email. So let me show you what's happening behind the scenes here. I click on create draft, and what that does is it actually starts a make.com workflow that now automatically retrieves the email, retrieves some of the information about the actual race, creates the draft in my inbox, and then it also updates that the message was created. And then when I go to my drafts folder and I hit the refresh button, then I should see it in my inbox completed with all of the dynamic values. So let's have a quick little look. Here we go. Here's the email. And if I now go and have a look at it, you can kind of see it's all been customized. It's got the custom image in here. It's also got a link to the actual video. So if I click on it, it will take you to the video that I just created. And also it's got a link to that specific listing page that looks a little bit like that. And just like that, we have set up an automated workflow that basically allows us to create these outreach emails. Now, a few more little things that I want to add before I wrap it up in this video. The first thing is that, as you may have noticed, I don't automatically send the email. Eventually, I will switch it to automatically send the email, but as I'm just getting started, I like to do it in stages so I can kind of control the workflows. So I'd recommend making sure that everything works first. But then another reason why I don't automatically send it out is because I obviously might want to customize, for example, the subject line. I might want to make some changes to the email. I might want to, replace the generic Tella video that I created with a more specific one. And so ultimately that is why I do it in these stages. Now, as soon as I jump into my Gmail account, hit the send button, another thing that I do is I actually add the send date. And the reason why I do that is because now what I can do is also set up tracking. So what I can do is I can create a separate view that basically allows me to see who I need to follow up with. And the reason why that is important is because people are just not going to respond to your emails. And it's nothing personal. It's just that emails get lost in the inbox. And so typically the approach that I take is I aim to follow up with someone 2 to 3 times just to remind them. And then if they don't respond from then, we just leave them alone. But what you want to do is, besides just having a system for creating these outreach emails, also make sure that you've got a system for following up. So creating separate views with different rules, like if it's been in sent for 3 days and there's been no response, then move it into that view. And then you can tie a record moving into this view into other workflows that you've got set up in the background. Okay, last little piece of business before I wrap it up. We had a few new launches in the local directory playbook, and they all get a shout out in my YouTube channel. The first one is Spokes Collective by Peter. Basically, avid cyclist, loves it. He wanted to basically create a directory to find cycling races, similar to what I'm doing with the running directory, but for bikes. Again, Peter doesn't come from a tech background. He basically figured out all this stuff by himself. Took him 40 days, absolutely game-changing stuff. He's now published it. He's now started using, the method that I just talked about in this video to start reaching out to people. And overall, he's just done an awesome job with it. It's a great first version of a directory. It's got search and filtering, all that type of stuff. The second one is Sniperology. So another person that joined the MVMP Labs, and he wanted to create a directory for finding long-range shooting ranges in the States. And so in here, you can find shooting ranges, you can find, training, schools, courses, all those types of things. And once again, created within 40 days roughly, no tech background, just figured it out. Kind of learned the thing, did the work, and here we go. Then lastly, always going to make a shout out to the #1 that launched, Matt, Tattoo Friendly Onsen. Again, I'm just going to have to say it because it is important. No tech background. This took him 30 days. He basically just head down, learned the stuff, and that is ultimately what it takes in order to get your MVPs up and running. Now, I will sneak in a quick little pitch for the local directory playbook. If you're interested in building a directory and you want to learn, how to build the actual tool, but also how to do some of the marketing and sales side of things, I've got a course. You can just click on Get Started. In here, I've got a whole curriculum breakdown of what I go over, but it's kind of like a living, breathing thing. I kind of make adjustments to it over time. But at the very least, we'll get you started building your MVP, and then we'll also do a whole bunch of group workshops where we go over how to do more specialized things. So if you're interested, I'll leave a link to that down below. With that being said, thank you so much for sticking around for the entire video, and I'll see you back here for the next one. Bye.